today we'll be moving to today. Today is today. So we are doing today. Okay, so the next formula we'll be touching is today. So what does this do? So I prepared a slide for this. Let me open that. Okay, so this is what today's does. We say the today function is used to return the current date. So it doesn't require any argument. You simply enter the formula into a cell and it will display the current date based on your computer's system date. So the example here we see is you just type equals to today in a cell and you press enter. Then it will display the current date and it will automatically update to the current date every time you open the workbook or when there's a recalculation of the formula. So this is quite straightforward. So let's do this. Okay, so moving to our Excel sheet now. We said it's a straightforward formula. So if I have equals to, and I enter today, so you can see that it returns the current date formatted as a date. So if I say today, all I just need to do is to press enter. Okay, I'll close my bracket and then I'll press enter. So you can see there it has displayed today's date for me. So today is 27th of January 2024. So I have the date there. So basically this is just what this formula does. Gives us the date. So it's not a complex one. So let's move to the next thing. So I don't feel like anybody should have any question there. That's quite straightforward. So the next formula we have here is the noun formula. So we say the noun function is used to return the current date and time. So like the today function, it doesn't require any argument. You can use it in a cell just by typing the formula out and then you press enter. So it will display the time and the dates for you. So this is also very straightforward. So we said if you open it and you press enter, the cell will now display the current date and time and it will automatically update to the current date and time every time you open the workbook or when there's a recalculation of the formula. So let's do an example. So we say you just type your equals to and you type now. So this is it here. So if I bring it up, just like today, all you need to do is you just close and you press enter. So you can see it here. This is showing only date, which is supposed to show us date and time. So I don't understand why it's showing only date. Okay, equals to now. Okay, so you can see it here. So this is the date and we also have the time there. So today's date is 27th of January 2024 and the time is 2016. That's 8:16 p.m. Please, can we all see it?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so the only difference here is today we will display only the date, but now we display both the date and the time for you. So this is also very straightforward. Any question or we move forward to the next thing? Okay, so the next thing we have here is end of month. So we have the end of month formula. So we call it the EO month. The EO month formula. So let's have it here. Equals to EO. So you see it here, end of month. So we say it returns. Let me pull up my slide so that we see what that one does. So we say you can use the EO month function to calculate the end of month for a given date. So the syntax appears this way, equals to EO month. So you have the start date and you have month. So start date and month, those are the two things it will pop up for you. So for the start date, this is the initial date for which you want to find the end of month. So that start date is for you to put the initial date for which you want it to find the end of month for. Then the month, this is the number of months before or after the start date. So how many months do you want it to show you the end of month for? You enter it into this thing and it will give you the answer. So now let's do it here. We have a new month here. So you pull it up. So as you can see here, you have your start date and you have your month. So for the start date, let's say the start date is, I want to use today. So what's today's date? So today is, if I bring this, let's write our date. So today's date is 27th. So when you're entering dates in Excel, always start from the year. So 2024. So after the year, you enter the month, and then you enter the day. So today is 27th. If I press enter, you see the way Excel will now present this for me. So this is today's date. So now if I want to find the end of month from this date, so now I'll say equals to EO month. So I have it here. So my start date now would be this date. I want to start from today. So that will be my start date. And then how many months? What end of month am I looking for? Is it this month, or in 2 months time, or in 3 months time? So month, I'll just put 1 because I need just the end to 1 month. Then I'll cover this, I'll close this, and I'll press enter. So it has displayed this for me. All I'll do, I'll change this to short date. So you can see it here. So in 1 month's time, because I choose to 1, you can see in 1 month's time, the end of month will be on the 2nd of, on the 29th of February, 2024. So that will be the end of month in 1 month's time. Now, if I go back to this formula and I change this to 0, or I just leave it this way, and I press enter. Okay, I have to impute 0 there. Otherwise, I'll need to take away this comma. So let me have 0 there. So 0 by 0, I mean the end of month to the current month that this date carries. So if I press enter, you can see it here. Now it has changed to 31st of this month, 2024. So that means that is the end of this very month from this date. This is the end. But if I put 1 there, it will show me the end of the next 1 month. Now let's have 3 here. So it will show us the end to the next 3 months. So that will be 30th of April 2024. Please, are we following?
Yes.
So I feel this isn't complex at all. So it's very simple. You just give it a start date, and then you give it the number of months you want it to calculate the end of month for. So this isn't complex. So I can also use on the formula, if I don't want to start typing the month, the start date, I can just use the formula today. So this is also a formula we've done today. So if I bring in the formula today there, so you can see, all I'll just do is I'll close today, and then I'll give it the month. If I press enter, let me change the month to 1. If I press enter, you see it will still take me to the end of the month in 1 month's time from today. So if I press enter, you can see it here. It's taking me to the 29th of February 2024. So this is me using today instead of using the current date. So and a whole lot you can do with it. Okay, so that's that for EO month. Right about now, we'll move to the next formula. So I believe this is clear enough. So for the next formula we have here is the e-date. Next formula we have is the e-date. So for the e-date, let's see what does that do. What does that do? So for e-date, we say the e-date function in Excel is used to add or subtract a specific number of months to a given date. So just like the EO month, for the e-date, we have the start date and we have months. But now, for the start date in the e-date, this is the initial date to which you want to add or subtract months. And then for the month is the number of months you want to add or subtract. So please, there's a difference between these two. So let's be very careful. For the EO month, it will only take me to the end of the month to the current date I'm using. So whatever is my start date, the EO month will give me the end of month for the number of months to that start date. But the E date is different. The E date will calculate 1 month from the start date. So that's the major difference. It will calculate 1 month from the start date. For example, let's use today's date. So this is today's date. So this is today's date. And then we want to use the E date here. So equals to, so we have the E date here. So my start date, I'm using this. So comma. Now I want to give it 1 month from now. So I'll put 1 and then I'll close. So when I press enter, so as I was saying, the E date will give us 1 month from the start date. So as you've seen here, I said 1 month from this start date, and it's giving us 27th of February 2024. So the major difference here is E date calculates a month, or if you ask it for 2 months or 3 months or 4 months, it will only give you that number of months from the E date, from the start date rather. But EO month, which is end of month, would give you the end of month calculated from the start date to the number of months you selected, but it's only concerned with the end of month. But this one is calculating 1 month from the start date because I'm choosing 1 month. If I choose 2 months, let me change this to 2. If I should change this to 2 and I press enter. So you can see it's now selecting, this is 27th of March 2024. So it's calculating 2 months from this start date that I used. And it's on the 27th of March 2024 that would make it 2 months from this date. So that will take us to the next thing on our formula, which is work days. So the next formula we are moving to is the work days. Okay, so for work days, what does this mean? So we say you can use the workday formula or function to calculate specific number of working days before or after a given date. So specific number of working days before or after a given date. So the syntax for the workday function is as follows. So you have your workday, that's when you do equals to workday. So you have the start date, you have the days, and then you have your holidays. So for the start date, we say this is the initial date from which you want to calculate the working days. So your start date will give you the initial date from which you want to calculate your working days. Then for the days, this is the number of working days you want to add or subtract from the start date. So this is quite straightforward. After I have my initial date, which is the start date, I'll now give it how many days, how many working days do I want to calculate. Is it 5? Is it 15? Is it 30? Is it... So I'll give it the number of days I want to calculate. Then the next one is the holidays. So the holidays we say is optional. So here you choose, you can include a range of cells that contain different holidays. So for this part, when we are doing practical, you'll see how that is used. So we say the workday function is useful for project planning. It's useful also for your scheduling and other scenarios where you need to calculate working days. So just like you've seen, project planning, scheduling. So these are situations where this is very important. So for example, let me say I was given a task and I was asked to submit that tax in 8 working days. So I'm told to submit that tax in 8 working days. So I could just use the workday function to calculate 8 working days from that very day that that tax was given to me. That way I can find out what 8 working days from that day would be, so that I can now know how to plan myself in order to meet up with that day. So now let's bring it up, equals to, so we have workday. So you can see here, we have workday and we have workday international. So the one we want to work with is, let's go with workday. So now you see here, we have workday, we have days, and we have start date, we have days, and we have holiday. So let's give it a start date. This is our start date. So comma, how many days are we looking for? So let's use the example I just said, 8. We are looking for 8 working days from today. Okay, the next one is the holidays. So for the holidays here, so if I press, let me see, these holidays is supposed to give us option. So what we'll do here is, this one is not bringing up the option for us to select our holidays. So this wouldn't really do what we are looking for. So let's use the workday international instead. Okay. So the workday international would fit perfectly with what we are doing. So start date, we use this. The number of days, we said is 8. So here, if after our comma, you can see it here. So the weekends now is what is asking us to choose. Now we all have different weekends. So these weekends are considered as holidays for us working. So what is your weekend? So you can see one day would give us Saturday and Sunday as a weekend. So people have different weekends. Some people, their weekends may be Sunday and Monday. Some may be Monday and Tuesday. Some may be Tuesday and Wednesday. So you have different options here. So some is only Sundays. Some is only Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and so on and so forth. Some is only Saturdays. So for someone like me, I do not have a weekend. I work Monday to Sunday. So if I'm calculating my work days, I really do not need a weekend. So I'll just go ahead, stop it here and close. So for us, let's say basically most people, our weekends are Saturday and Sunday. So let's have one day. So we have one day, and then we close. So now this is going to calculate 8 working days for us, excluding Saturdays and Sundays. So if I press enter, you can see from this date, it's telling us that 8 working days from today will be on the 7th of February 2024. So this calculation has not taken into consideration Saturdays and Sundays. So Saturdays and Sundays have been excluded from this calculation. So if I should go back here and change this to Sunday only, if I should change this to Sunday only, which is 11, so let me change this to 11. Okay, let me even pick Saturday only. So Saturday only is 17, and I press enter. Can you see that the date has changed? So 8 working days from today, excluding only Saturdays, would be on the 5th of February 2024. So that will take us to our next formula, which is sum if. So our next formula is sum if. So what is sum if? So sum if. So they said the sum if function in Excel is used to sum values in a range based on a specific condition. So it's used to sum based on a specific condition. So if we say it has the following syntax, so you have the range, you have the criteria, and you have the sum range. So the sum range is optional. We'll see why that is. So for the range, we say the range, so this is the range of cells that you want to apply the criteria to. So for the criteria, this is the condition that determines which cell in the range are summed. And then for the sum range, which we say is optional, so this is the actual cells to sum if they meet the criteria. So let's go to our Excel and see how this is applicable. So we have this sheet here. Let's use this. So now, using SUMIF, we want to sum the quantity or the total selling price of all of our products 8. Total selling price of all of our products 8. But before that, let's have products 8 typed in somewhere here so that we can pick it from there. So product 8, or let's use product 3. Product 3. So I said for the example we are about to do that we want to sum the total selling price for product 3. I initially said product 8, I now said no, let's change it to product 3, which is even typed down here. Or is it that we cannot see my screen? Can we see my screen?
We can see
Very
it's
well.
clear.
We can see your screen very well.
So I said we want to sum the total selling price for product 3. That was what I said now. Initially I said product 8, but I decided no, we should use product 3 for the example. So hope we are clear now.
But somebody said product 3 and you said the person was actually
Yes,
wrong too.
because it's not product 3 we are summing. We are summing the total selling price for product
Yes,
3.
I said product 3, but I didn't mention the
Total selling
corresponding
price.
listing.
So what we are actually summing is not product 3. We are not doing count. We are doing summing. So we want to sum the total selling. If you want to sum product 3 now from this range, what are you actually summing for product 3? So that wouldn't give you a value because it's either you're summing the quantity or you're summing something. But you cannot just say you want to sum product 3. So what are you expecting it to give to you? You're not doing count. So please, do we understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So moving forward, so I'll bring in SUMIF. So we have SUMIF here. Okay, so the first thing there, like we explained, is the range. So what's the range? Now this range is what we want to sum. So this is actually the range of what are we summing? We want to sum the total selling price for product 3. So the range now would be where we have products. That would be our range. So comma. Then what would be the criteria? The criteria would be product 3. So we select this, product 3. And then what would be the sum range? The sum range now would be what we want it to sum. So we said we want it to sum the total selling price of product 3. So this would be the sum range of what we want to do, what we want to sum. We'll close and we'll press enter. So you can see it here. So the total selling price for product 3 is 10,000. Let's change this to dollar. So it's $10,332. That's the total selling price for all of product 3. Please, are we following? Now I need questions before we move forward.
Sorry, please, can you come over this sum?
Okay, that's the first one. I need more questions.
Okay, my question is this. What if you have hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, what if you want to sue for more than a single product. Take for example, if you want to sum for product 3 and product 2 at the same time.
So how do you intend to sum both product 3 and product 2? So you do it differently and then you add it together now.
Okay, so the two cannot be summed together using that same formula.
No, you cannot do that because you have to give it a criteria. So now what will happen to the criteria you'll be given?
Okay.
So for your criteria, remember this is sum if we are dealing with.
Yes.
So you have just one criteria to give it. Okay, please, any other question? Hello?
Yeah, I think we are clear with it.
Okay, because now I'm asking, in no time now, it will be my own time for questions. So I hope by that time somebody will not tell me I did not really follow it. So for the sake of the person that said I should go over it again, I'm going to do just that. So please, Sammy, can you mute yourself? We are getting all bad. Thank you. Okay, for the sake of the person that said I should go over it again. So I said equals to sum if, sum if. So I said the first thing there is the range. So for the range, I say you give it the range of the thing you want it to sum, the range of where it will find that thing. So in this case, what we want it to sum is the total selling price of product 3. So product 3 is what we want it to sum. So that will be where we'll get our range from, which is inside here where we have products. So after picking this range, the next thing is we give it the criteria. So for this criteria, I have product 3 typed here. Remember, just like in other cases where we used to use quotation, double quotation, to type our criteria in, I can also do that here. But I have it typed out here, so I can pick it from here. So I pick product 3 from here, and I'll put my comma. So now the next thing is the sum range. So for the sum range is here because what I want it to sum is the total selling price. So I pick my sum range here, and that is all. I close and I press enter. So it will sum all of the total selling price for product 3. So anywhere we have product 3, it will sum that price, all of it here. And this is the total for us, $10,332. That's the total selling price for product 3. So is it clear now for the person that asked?
Yes, yes, it is very clear. But another follow-up question is that does it mean that it doesn't really matter whether it's in capital or small letter? Because I'm seeing that where you selected from that Q, is it 12, is having the capital, whereas the range, that the criteria range is having small letter. So it doesn't matter, right?
Yes, it doesn't. If it does, you would know it wouldn't work. You see writing error. So it
Thank you.
doesn't. Okay. So now the next example I want to do is for the next example I want to do is for a situation where I don't have to use the sum range. So now I want to sum the total quantity of products 3. Total quantity of products 3. So what's my sum range? I'll pick my sum range is here, comma. Then what's the criteria? What's the criteria?
Quantity. Total quantity.
It's quantity for product 3.
So how will I get that? Now let's crack our brain.
Sorry, why did you choose our quantity to be the range this
Okay.
time?
So what should I have picked?
I thought the product will still remain our range.
Okay. So now it's good we are observant. So this is what is there. If I have to do the total quantity, I would have to give it the product it will have to sum for me, right?
Yes.
So that means the quantity would need to come as the sum range. Am I clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So but what I want to do is to use a scenario where I don't have to use the sum range. Is that correct? So that scenario cannot work with quantity because for quantity I'll need to give you the product. I'll need to pick a product and then for it to calculate the quantity for me. So now which scenario can I use that I'll not have I don't want to add this sum range because I will say sum range is optional. So I want us to pick a range where we just give you the criteria without having to put the sum range. So what can that be in this table? Okay,
Mm,
because we don't want to waste time, let me move forward. Now, I know that all of my product 8, the unit price is $8. Am I correct?
We don't know.
You don't know. You not seeing my screen?
We cannot, I mean, I can't see everything, so it's just what I'm seeing. I'll be
Okay.
able to
So
justify.
let me even use see there. This is product 8.
yeah, it is in dollar.
So the unit price for product 8 is the $8.
Mm.
Can we
Yes, $8.
yes. So if I go down again, I have another product 8 here. Can you still see the unit price is
It's still
$8?
$8.
So now I want to sum the unit price that the criteria is $8, or the unit price that the criteria is $8.
Okay.
Okay, we'll not put the sign, we'll just write 8.
Yes. So in this case, you see I have just 8 there, and I can just close it and press enter. You see it has summed all of the unit price that is carrying $8. So that means the total of all the $8 I have here is $400 is what it has summed for us. So in this case now, I did not have to give it any sum range because I just picked my this thing from here. Remember we said the first thing is what? Is the range.
The
I picked
range.
my range here and I gave it a criteria, and the criteria is still within this range. Remember the important thing we said is that the criteria must always be inside the range you are choosing. So let's say it's not $8 we are looking for, it's $12. So let's change this to $12 and we press enter. So can you see the total sum of $12 we have here is $1,920.
Dollar.
So for $12, both our products 5 and products 3, their unit price is $12. So you can see here we have $12. This is product 5. We have $12. This is product 3. So what it will be summing here for us, even product 2 is also $12. The unit price for product 2 is also $12. Please, can we all see it? So we have 3 different
Yeah.
products that are carrying this unit price. So it has summed all of it for us and gave us this total, $1,920. Please, any question? before we move forward to the next formula. The next one is sum ifs. So any question at this point?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Okay, please go ahead.
I'm confused. My confusion is no, you are looking for the total selling price of a particular product.
Okay.
And in a situation where there are other products have the same value, the total selling value, like now you have another product that is carrying $12 and another one too is carrying $12. So how will you know that the amount is specific to a particular product?
Okay. I would like somebody who has been very attentive in this class to attempt answering that question. Let me even see if we are following. Please, if you've been very attentive to what I've been saying, who can attempt to answer that her question?
I didn't get our question.
Okay, let me try from my end.
Okay, go ahead.
Based on her question, in fact, I once asked that question: if you can find or sum for a product that is more than one, or for more than one product. So in such scenario, you must select the criteria for which you are assuming. So if it is product 3, you are assuming, you must select that it is product 3. If it is product 2, you must select. So you cannot join them without selecting a particular criteria, that is a particular product you are assuming. It is through that selection that you know that this is for this product and this is for the other product. You cannot sum them together. Using, if you are emphasizing on a product, then it means you cannot sum them the same way or at the same time, unless you are looking for only value. That is when you can now sum it together at once. But for the product, you must do for each product.
Okay, thank you very much for that answer. I would like to hear from someone else who again has maybe something similar or a different answer.
Well, just as he had rightly said, um, Excel identify every product where you have program it there. The price, it is we that we seems Excel is going to be confused if we are putting the conditions, the criteria, and the range properly. It's going to give us the exact thing of that product we are asking for.
Okay, thank you. So, for the person that asked the question, the the first speaker said it all. Now, if I'm referring to a particular product that I'm concerned about, I want to be sure I'm looking for the unit price of that product, then of course I'll need to pick that product as my range. I'll need to pick product as my range and then make that very product my criteria. So in that case, I would need a sum range to now select what I want it to sum for me. But in this case, I'm not making reference to any product in particular. The only thing I'm asking Excel to do is to give me the sum of all the unit price that contains a particular amount. So I'm not making reference to any product in particular. Rather, what I'm asking Excel to do is to sum all of the unit price that contains that very amount. So all Excel is concerned about is the unit price that contains $12 in this case. You saw when we said it should sum the unit price that contains $8. It summed it for us. But we told it now, sum all the, so whether it's product 1 or product 2 or product 3 that carries the unit price of $12, that is not the concern of Excel. As far as Excel would see $12 there, it will sum all for us. Because I did not give it any condition to say, please, I'm concerned about only product 1 or only product 2. All I told it is, I'm concerned about unit price. So anywhere in this unit price that you find $12, please sum it for me. I want to see how many $12 or how many products that I have $12 as their unit price, sum it all for me and give me the total value. So that is what Excel is doing in this case. That was why I did not give it a sum range, because I'm not concerned about the product. I'm only concerned about the unit price. Please, for the person that asked that question, are you clear now?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, thank you very much. Please, any other question before we move forward?
Sorry, sir, I did not get how you sum the quantity.
Quantity,
Yeah,
uh,
I thought you were trying to. Mm, I thought you were trying to do something about the quantity.
yes, I tried, but I said no, let me use this scenario and show us how you can do this without having to give it a sum range. So I said we cannot use quantity for that, because if you use quantity, what quantity are you summing? So you'd have to give it a criteria. So except I want to tell it to sum all the quantities that are 6 or all the quantities that are 30. You understand? So that was why
Yes.
I decided to use something I would be able to explain very well. But we can still do for quantity. So if we were to do for quantity, let's just change this range. Let's change our range to quantity. So we change our range to quantity. Then let's change the criteria. Let's change it to 30. Let's change it to 30. Please, are we following?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if I press, so you see, all of the 30 we have here, it has summed it for us. So that means the total quantity is 630. So 630, how many 30s do we have in 630? Hello?
Mm,
21, 21.
21 30s.
Yeah, 21.
Okay.
It's
So that,
21.
so that means we have a total of 21 of these products that their quantities are 30. Quantity 30, and immediately we had 360, 630, we said that was 21. So I decided we should use the count if to confirm if that was true. And we did that, and you can see it here, we have 31. So this is exactly what we did here with this. So yeah, all we did is we are picking the range from here, and we are picking our criteria from here. So that is why we do not need a sum range, because everything we are doing is inside here. But in a case where we are looking for a particular thing and it's not in that same range, so we have to look for, give it a sum range. So please, I hope you understand now. For the person that asked why I did not use quantity, so I just deliberately left quantity then, not that we could not use
Yes,
it.
sir.
I just decided we should use unit price instead. So please, everything concerning sum if, hope we are clear. We can move to sum ifs now.
Yes, sir.
Can we move forward?
yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So now sum ifs. So we are always used to this in Excel right from when we started if. So you do if, you have to do count, you have to do ifs. You went to count, you do count if, and you have to do count ifs. So now we are here again in sum. We've done sum if, we also have to do sum ifs. So what this tells you is that because the other one had one criteria, definitely there's another one for you to use and give it more than one criteria. So in this case, it's sum ifs. So using sum ifs, now you can see sum range is the first this thing here. This is the first argument here. So whereas when we use sum if, the sum range was the last thing we had. True or false?
True.
But now in the sum ifs, sum range is the first thing here, is the first argument. So now with the same thing we did, now let's say we want to look for the total selling price of product 3 And at the same time, we want to also find the unit price of that product 3. So now what will be our sum range? Our sum range now would be the total selling price. This would be our sum range. Then what's the criteria here? What will be the criteria 1? Please, are we following?
Yes.
I'm not getting any feedback. Or do we need time to cool off? This class is too dull for my liking. What's happening now?
Sorry, can you come again with a question?
Okay, so we are lost from the question.
Yeah, you say what should be our criteria, right? Our criteria 1.
Yes, I said sum range, criteria range 1, and then criteria 1. So what is the sum range now? So now I want to listen. I want you people to teach me from your
Is it?
basic
You
understanding.
you said we are looking for total selling price as well as that of the unit price, isn't it?
Yes,
So the the sum range 1 and criteria 1 should be product 3, and then total selling price will be the criteria range 1.
so our sum range will be what now?
I said some range is going to be product 3.
Product 3 would be the sum range. Please, let us all
Yeah,
speak
I think the sum range should now be the total selling price, and then if we are looking for product 3, that should be our the criteria. No, that will be the criteria will come last. Then the criteria range should now be that column I. So the sum range would be column M, which is the total selling price. The criteria range would be column I, which contains the product, and then the criteria, if we are looking for product 3, will now come last.
So let's even forget all this big grammar. We have 3 arguments here. So we have sum range, we have criteria range 1, and criteria 1. So what will be our sum range? Now, anything you call, I will do. What will be the sum range here?
Total selling price.
Total selling price.
Okay. So everything here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, comma. What will now be our criteria range 1?
Product.
Criteria product.
So the whole of product.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Comma. Then what will now be our criteria?
Product 3.
Product 3.
Okay. So is this it?
We hope so, sir.
This is correct?
Yes, sir. We think so.
Okay. Let's close. And let's press enter.
Enter. So your screen.
Congratulations.
So why were we so scared of trying things?
We
Okay.
are scared of making mistake.
Now let's add another criteria to this. So you see, after this, we still have, if we put comma, we still have criteria range 2 and criteria 2. So what can be our criteria range 2 here? What other criteria can we add?
The question, I think the question we are expecting.
We can add country.
We can add country.
Yes.
So if we add country, what would now be the criteria for the country?
We can select just one of the maybe USA.
Okay.
So
So someone said we should add country. So comma, and he said criteria should be. You said USA, right?
we can choose USA.
Okay. USA. That's the criteria. So can we press enter?
Yes, let's try it.
Okay. Did it work?
It
Yeah,
didn't.
It didn't.
it worked. It worked.
It worked.
Yes.
So for the person that said it didn't, why did you say it didn't? Now, what you just did now is, remember your sum range is the total selling price. And initially you told it to add all the total selling price of products 3 for you. And it gave you 10,000 something. But now you gave it another criteria when you added country. So that means you're now telling it sum the total selling price of product 3 of only customers that are from USA. So it's not everywhere it will see total selling price for product 3 that it will sum. Now it will be limited to only customers from USA. So that is why you saw the price, the total selling price reduced. Please, did we get it to that point?
Please, please, can you walk over it again, sir? Sorry.
Okay, let's go over it again. So we say sum ifs. Now we say in this very one, the first thing is we'll start with the sum range. When we did sum if, sum range was the last thing. But here, sum range is the first thing. So what exactly do we want it to sum? In this case, we say
Total
we want
selling.
it to sum the total selling price, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So after we've told it what we want it to sum, what is the criteria we want it to sum this on? We said we need only the total selling price for product 3. Therefore, the criteria range
Product.
would be product,
Product.
Good.
comma. Then what will now be the criteria? Inside this product, which of these products do we
Product
want
3.
it to sum?
Product
So
3.
we say product 3, comma. If you end it here, all it will give you would be the total selling price for all of product 3. But now we want to add another criteria. We want it to give us the total selling price of all product 3, but only from customers that are from USA. So that means we have another criteria range here, which will be country. So that's the next criteria range. And then it will ask us for criteria. The criteria now for this one would be which country are we summing? Now let's sum
USA.
for USA. USA. So are we following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We are following.
Oh yes, and now we press enter. So we see that our customers from USA that bought products 3, customers from USA that bought products 3, the total selling price to all of them is $2,506, $556. That's the total selling price of all of our products 3 to customers from USA. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, now let's even change this criteria that was USA. Let's even change it to something else. Let's say the next criteria is we want to also check the unit price. So we select unit price, and here the unit price we want is unit price of 8, and we press enter. So what are we seeing here? Hello, somebody should explain. What are we seeing here?
We are seeing that it didn't bring out any result. So
Yes. Why is
probably there was no that product. Is it product three? No, none of them was sold at $8.
we have, let's see, product three, $12, product three, $12. So none of it, remember we are using product three. So none of it was sold at this unit price of 8. So now let's change this unit price to 12. Let's see if it will give us a value. Has it given us a value?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
now,
Yes, sir.
what are we seeing here?
Yes.
We are seeing that all the total of the total selling units for product 3 to the, now we didn't use country, rather we said product 3 total selling unit at this unit price was $10,332. Please, anybody confused?
Okay. What? So let me say the formula again. The criteria range that we're not using now.
Okay.
Let me see. Yeah, okay.
So the criteria range, the second criteria range is this, where we
Yes,
have
sir.
unit price, and the unit price is 12, which is the price for the product 3. Please, anybody confused?
No.
Time to ask your questions if you're confused. Remember when we removed this, and only did these two. When we did this and we said product, the criteria 1 was product. Where do we have product 3?
On Q.
Okay, so we said product 3 was our criteria 1, and we closed it here. Remember, this was what it gave us, exactly this figure. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
now, all we did here was, we came here, we added a new criteria. Remember, we cannot add a criteria that is not corresponding with we cannot add a new criteria range, and then the criteria will now not be corresponding with what we have already. That was why when the unit price was 8, the thing gave us nothing, because 8 has no relationship with what we are already doing. But when we change the unit price to 12, which that is the unit price for product 3, you see that it summed everything and still gave us this total. So remember, everything here we are summing is this total selling price. So every other thing we are doing here is all pointing to product 3. But what we want it to return for us is the total selling price for product 3. So if we bring this in, it will only give us the country, but it will still be country of the people that bought product 3. So
Product 3.
everything is responding to product 3. Are we following?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So please, who still has confusion over what we are doing? Let he or she ask a question before we move forward. Question time. What's happening now?
It means we are clear.
Oh, it means we are clear. We can move forward.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, I
Oh,
think
okay,
Yes,
so.
sir.
oh. Just as I said, it is time for assignment. Nobody should come and start private chatting me. Oh. He said, sir, now we are all clear.
Hello, hello, sir.
Okay.
Simon, don't bring people
Thank
out.
you,
Yes, I am listening.
sir. Me, the reason why I'm not really
Ah,
had this issue with
your network is so bad.
Zoom using Zoom. My
Please, is it only me or is others? Are you people getting this same reception I'm getting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it's keeping.
Our network
Our
is really
network
bad.
is speaking.
So I don't know.
I
Maybe
think it's from her end.
so. Oyola, please, can you help us if you can type your question in? Because whatever you're saying, we are not getting it. It's skipping. Please, if you can type it in, we'll appreciate it. Because your network, except you try again. Let's see if maybe the network will be better now. Oyola,
She is typing.
okay, she's typing. Okay, someone else, any other person with the question? Okay, so let's move forward. So let's move forward in that case. So what next do we have? So the next thing we have here is average ifs. So before we go to average ifs, we need to do average first. So let's do average. Then we'll go to average if. So for average, this is very straightforward. Equals to average. So what are we looking for the average of? So let's say we want to get the average here. Average of this total selling price. So that's practically all. You close and you press enter. So the average will give us $142. So that's the average of all of these total selling price. So this is the average. So I don't think there's any complication in this one. So if you are doing for average ifs, average if, so we have average if. So for average if, let's even find out what the formula says. It finds average, arithmetic mean, for the cells specified by a given condition. So if it's average if, the first thing is the range. So let's say we are still using this range. So after the range, the next argument is what's the criteria. So we give it a criteria. So now, this is just like sum if. So you do it the other way, like we did. So your range would have to be what you're looking for. So in this case, let's use product as the range. Product will be the range. Then the criteria will be what? Product 3. So that will be the criteria. And then the average range will now be the total selling price. So we close. So you can see there, the average now would be, the average for all of our product 3 is $172. So that's the average. Then for average ifs, we're changing this to average ifs. So just like we did in the other case, you first of all give it the average range. So in this case, this will now become your average range. So, comma. Then what's your criteria range 1? It will be this. And then the criteria would now be this. So just like we did before, you can also give it, if I should do comma, it will ask for criteria range 2, and so on and so forth. But if we end it here and we close, and press enter, you can see, because it's just one criteria we used, you can see it there. But if we were to have added another criteria, just like we did before now, we say comma, maybe the next criteria range, we decide to pick country, or let's use unit price, decide to pick unit price, comma, and then the criteria is, we are using 12. We're using 12 because it's product 3 we are working with, and we press enter. So you can see for all of product 3, it's still giving us that same, because that's the average. So please, are we following? So assuming we changed this to country, and the criteria here was USA. So if we press enter, that will change our average, because now it's only doing it for people from USA alone. That's the average it's looking for. So all of products 3 that are from USA, this is their average. Okay, at this point, anybody still confused about anything concerning average? So we've done average if, and we've done average ifs. So any confusion, or we should move forward? As you can see, today we are flying. So by the grace of God, maybe we'll use tomorrow and we'll finish everything in this area. Okay, so let's move forward. So with the last thing we did, I believe we are all clear to this point, right? To the point of average ifs.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's do quartile, percentile, and percentage. Let's see how many more we can take. So quartile. Okay, so equals to, you have quartile. So you have it here, you have 2 different types of quartile. You have the quartile exclusive and you have the quartile inclusive. The difference here is one would exclude the upper and the lower quartile, while the other one will include it. So let's see what that means. Let's use the quartile inclusive. So now what's the array? Let's use this array. Comma. Now you see for the inclusive, the quartile here, you have the minimum and you have the maximum here. But if we're using the exclusive, let's try the exclusive, the quartile exclusive. So if we have this same array, so you see that for the quartile, we have only the first, second, and third quartile. Can we all see it on my screen? So it has excluded the minimum and the other one. So that's why we really don't make use of this. Not that you cannot still use it, but we prefer the inclusive quartile. So when I give it an array, I can now choose which value I'm looking for. So in this case, we want to look for the first quartile. That's the 25th percentile. So if I put 1 would give me the first quartile, and I would close. I'll close and press enter. So in this array, the first quartile, the 25th quartile is 43.5. The 25th quartile here is 43.5. Now let's see the 50th quartile. So let's see the 50th quartile. That's the median value. If we are using the 50th quartile, you see that is 108. So 108 is what is in the 50th quartile. Okay, let's try this with another range. Let's try this with another range. So equals to quartile. Now I said we use the inclusive. So let's use the quantity range. So 25th quartile. And then we close and we press enter. So in the 25th quartile here, we have 7. We have 7 in the 25th quartile. And if we should change this to the 50th quartile, so we have 16. 16 is in the 50th quartile, and so on and so forth. So that's quartile for you. So now percentile. If we do percentile, which is just about the same thing as quartile, we also have inclusive and exclusive. So we'll go with inclusive also. So if I give it an array, and I give it the quartile, which is 1. Remember, 1 is the 25th percentile. So if I press, so you see it here. Sorry, I'm coming. So let's try the exclusive. Let's see if it's the same. So for the exclusive, we'll give it this. And then we select the quartile. So let's say 2. If we are using 2, 2 would be the 50th quartile, right? So you see, this is exclusive. It's not working. So we have to take it back to inclusive.
Inclusive.
Then if we give it 2 now, as we've given it, so we don't have 2 there. So we have 1. And then let's try 0. Let's try 0. So we have 0 and we have 1. Let's see minus. Perhaps we have minus 1. No. So we have 0 and 1 in the inclusive listen. So your array, and then you have the quartile you're looking for, or the percentile you're looking for. So is it 1 or is it 0? So 1 will place you in the upper percentile, while 0 will place you in the lower percentile. So please, are we clear? Are we following this quartile and percentile?
No, sir, but you can see both.
It's confusing.
The exclusive and the inclusive.
It's making it more confusing.
Exclusive, inclusive.
The issue is that, like on this one, you did not use the note. Like the other one now, there's a note that explains.
I should have used the note, Abi.
Yes, but we are going straight to it, so we didn't have a background of why we're applying it, or
Okay, this is
that's why it's
what we'll do. Tomorrow's class, we'll start from here so that I'll make a note. That way, maybe we'll understand it better. But how about the quartile? Did you understand the quartile very well?
Yes, it's straight.
Yes, sir.
But in the application, it's what. It is in the application that we need something to maybe widen our scope in it, but it is quite simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. So tomorrow I'll prepare a note that will cover percentile. That way, I will break it down for those that are still confused. Okay, so that will be about it for the size of today's class.